Today's guest is the beautiful Kyla Kirkpatrick, who I've known for many years, extending herself from being a champagne dame to lately going into potentially the housewife territory. Tell us a bit about you, Kyla, and share it out for the viewers.
God, where do you start? Yes, I'm probably more commonly known as the Champagne Dame, and I've been an ambassador for the Champagne region and presenting in Champagne. Actually, James, I'm celebrating my 15th year next month.
15?
15 years of giving up my life in banking and corporate and moving to Champagne to start my life again. So my 15th anniversary this year. Started my life as a presenter in 2005 after reading every book there was to read on champagne and deciding that it was my new love, and buying a one-way ticket to Paris and reinventing myself. And then obviously back to Australia, and I've evolved my career in champagne and since launching Emperor, our online business, and now pivoting again, yes, to become a housewife, kind of a new role for a businesswoman, actually.
From going back to the champagne side, I mean, where did the name, the stigma come from for you? Where did that all eventuate?
It was actually a nickname, and it was a friend of mine. It could even be someone that you know. So when I moved to Paris, I spent a year in the vineyards and really just immersed myself in the culture of champagne. Spent time with the wine growers, got to know the history, the region, the nuances. When I came back, I started working with LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, working with their brands. And I was out a lot. I was presenting in Champagne, talking about the story of Champagne. And someone I knew started calling me the Champagne Dame as a nickname. And when I left LVMH and decided to set up my own presenting business, the name stuck. And I've been known as the Champagne Dame or the Dame ever since. So it was started as a nickname.
Oh, awesome. And also too, from obviously taking your talent across many different trades, and how are you applying that now, or how have you applied it into leading your business today? I mean, what skill sets do you share out on a daily basis with the team?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, first and foremost, I'm a businesswoman, and even though I found my passion being the product of champagne, I'm a businesswoman, so I'm growing my business. At first, I started with a business that very much centered on myself, so presenting and educating tours to France. But I knew that there was a big business in there for me. You might call it, James.
I think that's one of my sons trying to call me.
Hey, don't worry. We are in the land of running business and homeschooling at the same time. Shit goes wrong, trust me. And so for me, I've got a commerce degree. I've got a background in business and strategy. So I apply those skills now more than ever in my new business. Emperor is obviously a much larger business. We're an e-commerce specialist, importer, distributor, much more complicated, and now a global business with offices in Singapore and Australia. And we're looking at a few other markets at the moment while we've got some downtime. But I'm really utilising all of my life's experience, whether it's come from my education or whether it's come from my banking background.
Yeah, and look, obviously taking that from pretty much like it's an emotional and engaging process behind what you do, as far as like when you're talking publicly about champagne and the origins and flavors and tastes and smells, and how do you transcribe that onto this? Like how do you take a bottle of champagne and bring that onto a virtual screen, and how have you adapted to it?
Well, when the crisis hit, and I hate calling it that because for us, I see it as the land of opportunity. I know that the world is hurting, and there are a lot of people who haven't been able to pivot out of such a difficult time and reinvent themselves. We've certainly seen it as an opportunity. But when the crisis first hit, I sat down with my team and had the whiteboard up, and I said, all right, let's talk, guys. The world has changed from what we know. How long, we don't know. When we first came into this situation, we didn't know how long this period of lockdown was going to take. We essentially looked at both businesses, Champagne Dame and Emperor. We looked at risk mitigation. Where are our holes? What parts of our business are going to cease? Where do we stem costs? We went through every line of the bank account to see what we could strip out. Where can we bring in new revenue, and how can we change what we're doing? And being a small team, being a nimble team, we were able to pivot very quickly. Now, of course, one of the first things that disappeared for our business was the physical touch that we have with our customers. Events, our champagne truck, our masterclasses were gone.
Yep.
So we did our first virtual tasting, which was a hell of a lot of fun. We had 5,500 people tuned in from all over the world. We had dozens and dozens and dozens of people all over Australia buy the champagne that was featured in the virtual tasting, and it was a huge success. And people are like, can we do this every Thursday night? I did it with Kiri, who's our in-house sommelier. We had a lot of fun, and we talk very passionately about champagne, and it's something that I can wax lyrical on for many hours without taking a breath. So that was a really fun pivot for us. Our next one's coming up on the 21st of May. We're beaming in Rudolph Frejon Tattinger from France. Of course, it'll be his morning. I'll have had a few champagnes under my belt. We'll see how the dynamics go.
Obviously, now you're not managing the job of Real Housewife, apart from being virtual in the house, right through to the business. Is that going to kick into play for you? Are you going to be overloaded once we get out of this COVID situation into filming and working? And how's that going to happen?
The answer is a very strong yes. So, what's essentially happened is that whatever was planned for the first half of the year is now being postponed to the second half of the year, which means for me a compact period of time which I need to get everything done. So filming, masterclasses, events, emceeing, presenting, plus running my business. Now, the thing that we also don't see is that this brain is a machine, and while I've had 3 months pause on the physical presenting side of my business, I've also been working around the clock. So we're launching new projects, and they're big ones. We're looking at launches in major markets outside of Australia. So I'm kind of building this monster in the background, and once all of these gears come into play, it's going to be a very challenging period of time for me. That's just the way my mind works. I really like to be busy. I love a challenge. And what's been really nice, James, about this period of time is that I've had the opportunity to stop and reflect and have a look at where I've been and where I'm going and what's happening within my business. And I've been able to really refine things and tidy things and tighten things and pivot my strategy ever so slightly, things that, yes, may have been impacted by COVID, but also other opportunities that have probably been sitting there that I haven't had the time to take advantage of. So going forward, this is going to be a really interesting time.
It's really hard. How's Arlington coping with you? And how's the home environment going? And
well, do you know the problem of having a really smart, articulate 6-year-old is that she tells you exactly what she's thinking. And some of that's pretty confronting, like she was sitting at her homeschooling computer yesterday as I was sitting at my desk at work, and she said, Mum, I think you rank business number 1 and family number 2. I think that's your order of priority. And I said, no, darling, that's not true. She said, money's not the most important thing in the world. It's love and it's relationship and it's family. So what she sees, because she's now present in my office, is me having rapid conversations with my staff and the flurry of business and the intensity with which I run my business. Now, that's a very different mum to the mum that's at home with her after hours. And, when she's trying to get my attention, Mum, I don't know how to spell this word, neither do I, when she's sort of homeschooling and I'm trying to juggle the demands of this little person and my business, it's a challenge, I really tip my hat to parents at this period of time. It's not easy.
What's sort of been, from your side as well, have you had time out for yourself during this period? If you've been full on, if you flick the switch into overdrive, what am I going to do? How am I going to get out of it? Scenario that I know you and I are very similar in that way, that basically you try and find the solution. But have you had time for you during this period?
I did my pivot pretty quick. So I'd already, and that's, I've, nimble team, nimble mind. I'd already done my pivot and plan and changes really fast. We had a whiteboard. Every member in the team had a project list, which we've already done, ranging from huge projects like launching in London to small projects. And, you know, I'd already pivoted pretty quickly, but then that left me with my weekends off. I'm not accustomed to having a weekend off, and Friday to Sunday is a long period of time. I've actually really enjoyed being at home, and I'm renovating at the moment. Even though my house is only 5 years old, I've decided to renovate. I've just painted my hallway black, really bold. I painted my bedroom. I've done a lot of renovation. I'm going room by room, so I've really enjoyed that. I actually haven't watched much TV. I've been really, you know, I've been in the kitchen. I've been renovating. I've been sort of finding other outlets that I really enjoy, and that's been cool.
What's the new skill set you've picked up during isolation?
Oh, painting, not on a piece of paper. I am the reno queen. I'm very particular, actually. So painting's definitely my thing. You might find that my house is very multicolour by the next time you come to visit, James.
Latest book recommendation?
Latest book recommendation. Oh, that's a good one. I actually haven't been reading so many books, which I feel really bad about because it's a great time to read books. I have to admit, I'm probably more into music at the moment. I've been revisiting the classics, R.E.M., Live, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Bruce Springsteen, Dire Straits.
All coming out.
Yeah.
Might have to nominate you for your music list. What restaurant are you going to be rushing to when the doors open up?
Oh God, so many choices. Look, I think one of my favourite places, also my daughter's favourite place, is the back bar at Chin Chin Go-Go Bar. So you can have a chili margarita, which the boys know how to make for me just right, with a plethora of really tasty, spicy dishes. It's heaven.
What mantra do you live by?
I think probably the best mantra, and it's one by a man, Sir Winston Churchill, a man who loved champagne. Success is not final and failure is not fatal. Just keep going. It's the way that you proceed that's important.
I love it. I love it. What are you binge watching? I don't think you are.
Look, to be honest, I'm not. I'm actually, do you know what I'm doing? I'm actually binge watching art. I'm looking through art collections around the world. I'm sort of acquiring new pieces of art at the moment. It's the piece de resistance for me to finish the walls. I've watched a little bit of Netflix, but I'm not actually binge watching. Once I annihilated Ozarks 3, I was kind of out. So
It's a pretty dramatic thing.
Not too much. Yeah.
We're still waiting for the next now. And what's one thing you've learned about yourself during this time?
Well, I think I probably already knew this, but I love a challenge. You know, for me, I saw the positive in COVID. I didn't see the negative. I really moved fast. I'm relishing in the opportunity. You know, if you, as a business owner, if you can't find a way of trading through this period, which, you know, I know it's difficult, but, you know, there's always a way of making money. And by adding new strings to your bow right now, you might just find that little pot of gold, even when the world returns to normal, that you might not have had previously. So I think the real highlight for me is the fact that I love a challenge, and I've really thrived in this environment of things being difficult. And you know, we need to see this as an opportunity and not as a threat. Yeah,
no, cool. And this is the last one. Tell us your sustainable goal for 2020.
Oh, bringing things on me, James. My goal for 2020, well, it's got nothing to do with my diet. For me, it's to really see, actually, you know what? I'm going to tell you what it is. We have relationships with our partners, right? And we have relationships with our friends. But something that I've learned over the last couple of weeks is that we actually have relationships with our business. And this is a really interesting revelation for me. You know, the way that your business is a direct relationship and reflection of yourself. You know, if your business is succeeding, if your business is struggling, it's a reflection of yourself. And I actually want to build a better relationship with my business, you know, and what I found is when I've invested more of me personally, when I've stopped and listened to it, just like a relationship with a human, I've actually managed to grow it and to improve it. And it's this living being. And sometimes we don't stop and reflect on the relationship with our business. And I really want to improve my relationship and my respect and my connection to my business. And that's going to see me to great heights through 2020.
Love it. That's so. Look, Kyla, thanks so much for your time, and for everybody else out there who's going to watch this. Hope you enjoy it. But stay strong, stay fit, stay healthy, and keep painting.
Thanks so much for having me.
Hello.
Good to see you.